Guys, let's look at what a user story is and why we want to write user stories, right? So before we get to that, let's first talk about if you're a business analyst who is writing requirements for a software. You're probably writing requirements in lots of different ways, and our requirements can, how you write requirements really differ based on the type of software you're building. You could be working on an infrastructure project, you could be working on building a workflow type system, you could be working on a mobile application. So the way you represent requirements could really vary. So firstly, let's talk about what is a requirement, right? So the requirement basically represents the what and the why, and essentially the solution that your team might build to solve for the requirement talks about the how. So here's a really simple way to understand this, right? Always keep this in mind. So when you're writing requirements, your requirement should only address the what and the why, and your team, which then takes that piece of requirement and goes and builds a particular feature, is actually doing the how, right? So the how represents the technical solution, the what and the why represents the business requirement. So if you can really sort of keep those two separate, and then you just follow that simple logic of not combining the how when you're writing requirements, your requirements are actually going to be pretty good and something that I think your team would appreciate. So that's probably a thumb rule to keep in mind when you're writing requirements. So essentially, this is where the user stories come into picture. What user story is trying to do is it's making you think of who you're building this software for, why you need to build it for them, and what benefit you're actually providing to the user. So here's a really good format. So as a user, I want to be able to do X so that I can achieve Y, right? So this is pretty much how you want to write your user stories, and this is just one format that's widely used, and this is popularized by Jeff Patton, and I think I've actually kind of recommended his book in a previous video. So if you want to really know about user story mapping and how to write user stories in depth, you could probably refer to his book. But it's a really good format, and I quite like the structure of this user story. So basically tackling the user, the what and the why in one sentence, right? So it really is a good way to write requirements. So yeah, I mean, keep this in mind when you're actually sort of doing requirements for your team, or if you like to see a bit more in detail video of user stories and other topics within agile, please let me know in comments, and I'd be more than happy to do a video on that. So let me know if you sort of like this video, and also give me some feedback on how I could improve my videos or what sort of content would really help. So yeah, thanks guys, thanks for watching.